The thing about Chelsea is life is never boring. Hey chaps, welcome back to properchels.tv, your one-stop Chelsea news channel. I'm your host, as always, Logan Blue. And in today's fast-paced episode, fast-paced, well, really, it's Servette. Let's not get too excited. It's Servette away in the Conference League. Wait for it. Second leg playoff match. Yes, I feel you, my brother. I feel you. But we are 2-0 up from the first leg. Brilliant. Love it. And we probably should have, put another two past them. But they were quite resolute, as I said in my first leg match preview. And they're a Swiss team, and teams are always organized. So if we expect anything less than sort of rock and roll football, like not quite heavy metal football, so we can put it one tier down, old school rock and roll football, which is a bit back to front kind of thing. That's the style that Servette play. That's the style that they'll play against us in their second leg. They will be buoyed by the fact that they've got their home fans with them. I think it's about a 30,000 seater stadium, so it's not going to be it's not like going to I don't know, the new camp or Anfield or Old Trafford back in the day when the atmosphere was actually good. But it's still we're the away team, but we've got a 2-0 leg to bring into it, which is comfortable but not so comfortable that we can breathe out. So we have to be on our game and make sure we get the first goal. Okay, with that in mind, let's have a look at my suggested team lineup for this particular match. Radio, here's the suggested team lineup that I have picked for this riveting match against Servette. So we'll start at the back. Have a look at the back here. So Jorgensen's in goal, but if it were up to me, I'd have Jorgensen in goal the whole time, despite Sanchez having had a half-decent game on the weekend where we won against Wolves. But he's the guy who apparently is the B choice as far as Enzo Maresca is concerned, and he is going to start the Conference League matches, and Sanchez is starting the Premier League matches. Don't even get me started on that. But fingers crossed he'll be the number one moving forward as the season goes on. Now, Jurgensen as the number one, is, like I said, that's kind of something that Enzo and I are agreeing on, at least for this match. The rest of the team, maybe not so much. Right. What I've done here is I've rested a whole bunch of players because we have a 2-0 lead, which, as I mentioned, is great, but not so much that we can just kick the ball around like a Sunday match. We need to be on our game and, as I mentioned, get the first goal, because that first goal is going to be vital. It'll silence the home crowd, and they'll know they're not getting back from 3-0. So our back line, almost a complete change from the weekend. I've got Vega at left back. I really like Vega. The little I've seen of him, he's kind of like a leader. He's big and strong. He can play midfield, defensive midfield. So when he inverts, he's perfect, because that's his kind of. I think defensive midfield might even be his natural position as opposed to left back. But he's a very versatile player on the left, and I think he's a really good buy. Vega on the left, Badia Shir in central defence, on the left of central defence. I'm not a huge fan of Badia Shir, if I'm being honest. I've not seen anything of him apart from mistakes. Actually, that's a bit disingenuous. When he first got here, he seemed to be a talent, and I'm like, oh, okay, nice. We've uncovered another French central defender, which of course we have done many times in the past. I'm thinking of Desailly and Frank Leboeuf and the like. But his form fell off, and he's lost his place. And I honestly think it's lucky we haven't sold him. But he was quite cheap anyway. But I think he's going to start from the left anyway. Tosin again. Now Tosin, I'm loving Tosin. I think he's going to be a beast of a defender. He's big and strong, and again, like Vega, a leader. quite vocal. I like my defenders to be vocal, right? I like everyone to yell at everybody else, bring them in line as the line is pushing up or dropping back. Yeah. So everyone's on the same page. Not every leader has to be vocal. I mean, you can be a captain and not be vocal. You can lead by example, as it were. But let's face it, if we were Chelsea with John Terry in the centre of defence, everyone in that defensive line would know their job, right? And if they didn't, he would just chew their ear out, and they wouldn't make the same mistake again. Yeah? And nobody questioned JT. We haven't really got those leaders yet, but I think it might take 2 or 3 years, and we actually have to keep some players as opposed to churning them, churn and burn them, getting them in, selling them, getting them in, selling them, all that player trading stuff, right? So we need to keep a spine, and we need to have that spine being the spine that stays with us for a number of seasons. I think that's the only way we're really going to be challenging for the title. Okay, but I quite like that defense. And Gusto on the right, only because, well, two reasons. One, I can't think of anyone else really I trust on the right of defense, because basically Gusto is the backup to James, so he's kind of, this is his competition if you were to be callous about it. Although he's certainly good enough to start in the Premier League, but also because his performances at the beginning of the league campaign haven't been stellar. He hasn't quite got up to speed yet. So I think we need to just give him some time to get the rust out of his game, so he can become the Gusto we know from last season. In the centre of defence, I've got Dewsbury Hall. Centre of midfield, rather. I've got Dewsbury Hall, because we need to give him a run out, and he does know the system, so I think he'll slot in well, especially against an inferior, and apologies to Servette, but an inferior opposition like Servette. Caicedo, same as Gusto. I've got him playing another game, two on the trot, because like Gusto, he's just hasn't been very good. In fact, he's been worse. He's just been like it's like his, like Caicedo's twin brother, has turned up, and he looks the same, but he hasn't got the same power, the same speed, the same tenacity, all the things that we love about Caicedo when he's in full flow. But again, Caicedo last season started badly, if you'll remember. The weight of the price tag was weighing him down, I suspect. But by the end of the season, he was a monster. So he needs time on the field to just blow the rust out. Okay. Up in the front of the three, I've got Felix. Okay, as a 8 to 10, depending on whether we're in which phase of play we're in. But I think Felix will enjoy that and hopefully get another goal. Because if he can start, this is the thing with Felix. I think he's very much a confidence player. When he came to Chelsea the last time on loan, he was so happy to be there, so excited to be playing in the Premier League, playing for Chelsea. Then he got sent off in the first game, and everyone just tore strips out of him because he missed the next 3 matches, and his loan fee was exorbitant, right? And he never quite recovered. He got 4 goals in his first spell with us, right? But this guy has some magic in his boots. He absolutely does. He's somebody who I think when his tail is up, he's like going to be a force of nature. So I'm hoping that we start him, right? Let him feel comfortable in the team. Let him boss things in the way that Palmer bosses things when Palmer's on the field, and hopefully he can get a goal. Because if he can start, 2 games or game and a quarter and get 2 goals, I think he's the rest of the season, or certainly the early part of the season, he'll feel like a valuable member of the team, not just the new guy, waiting for his chance. Right, so up front, Nkunku didn't start on the weekend. Obviously, he's good enough to start on the weekend, and he's a natural goal, I would say goal machine, but goal poacher, maybe, if that's right. He's not really a fox in the box type, but he's certainly a guy who has a footballing brain. He can see football kind of like Palmer does, a couple of chess moves ahead. So he knows where to be to get that cut back, to get in, to get a yard's space from the defender. So he needs some time on the field, and he needs to get a goal or two. behind him. Now, Gui, as I've said before, I love this kid. I do. He's only 18, and if we get a striker, be it a Tony or be it a Victor Osimhen, he's going to be third in the pecking order. Which, if we get Osimhen, I'm excited. I really am, because it's Osimhen. He'll be the starting guy. But Gui, he's only 18, right? He has to understand he's not going to be starting every game. There'll be games where he won't come off the bench, and there'll be games when he's in the squad, right? And he's not even on the bench. But I really like him. I think he brings so much youthful energy and willingness to charge down, lost causes, and his finishing will get better, because it just will, because he's from the Barca Academy, and they just know talent better than maybe Chelsea. Chelsea know talent.
Okay, then, that's all the news that's fit to print, and quite a bit that isn't. As always, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and God bless, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.